What's going on, swim fans? In today's video, I am doing a stroke analysis of Caeleb Dressel. That's right, the American superstar sprinter. We're gonna break down his strokes. I'm gonna show you guys some videos of his race footage as well as training both in and out of the water to see how you guys can take your swimming to the next level and hopefully pick up some tips and tricks by watching this analysis. We do this here at MySwimPro because we're passionate about helping you swim faster and smarter than ever before. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and let me know in the comments what you guys think of Caeleb Dressel's stroke and what other athletes you would like to see. I also did an awesome interview with Caeleb Dressel. I had the opportunity to speak with him. Make sure you check it out. That'll be linked in the description below. And without further ado, let's begin. Now, the first thing I want to break down is his hand entry. In freestyle, there's a lot of things that we can look at, and we're going to analyze all of it. But firstly, let's talk about where his hands are hitting the water. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pause this. This is from, I believe, his race in the 100-meter freestyle, where he actually went a 46.9, super fast. One thing that you notice is his hand is a little narrow on the entry. Actually, this happens with both of his hands. Now, I know it's really difficult to see, so I'm gonna go ahead and draw a line that kind of represents the midsection of his body, and we're gonna look at where the hands are entering. Now, ideally, the hands are gonna enter the water at about shoulder width, maybe 11-1 if the arms of a clock are a good reference point. We're gonna go ahead and watch this in slow motion, and yeah, it looks like he's entering a little narrow. Now, why does that matter? And you know, even someone as good as Caeleb Dressel can always find these little things to improve. Obviously, his stroke, even with these improvements, he is still better than 99.9% repeating percent of the population, but there's always room to improve. Now, the reason why you want to enter the water at shoulder width is because that is the most efficient way to start your catch. If you think about it, you're not going to be pulling any water in front of your head, and you naturally have to start pulling to the side, which you actually see him doing. He enters in front of the shoulder, and then he sweeps out just a little bit. And that outward sweep is just a waste of time, a waste of efficiency, and he could actually get into the stroke a little bit sooner, or if he's not going to increase his turnover, he can increase his distance per stroke by just a little bit. Another thing that you can actually see from this angle, it wasn't actually one of my talking points, he does lift his head up a little bit too much when he's breathing. When you breathe, you want to keep one eye in the water. You want to keep your eyes looking down, because what happens when you lift your head up? Your hips sink, and we don't want that. So here we're going to pause it. And so right now, the fact that I can actually see the logo on the front of his cap, and I can actually see his forehead, means he's lifting his head up too early. As he's looking, if there was an angle, he's looking forward at maybe a 45-degree angle. And I believe this actually gets worse as he starts to take the breath. Yeah, you could actually see almost the entire, look at that. I don't know what his head is doing. Now, he is doing a great job looking to the side, but the angle of his head position, if I could, draw an angle or something, there is an angle, there it is. Yeah, so that's the angle relative to the surface level of the water. And that head position is really important because, like I said, the head position determines where your hips are. If your head is looking up, your legs are gonna sink. Can't really see it from this angle. Maybe we'll come back to that point looking at something else. So that's what I wanted to show there. Let's break down his underwater dolphin kick. His walls are absolutely incredible. That's how he goes 17.6. By the way, if you guys haven't seen my Whiteboard Wednesday breaking down how he went 17.6, check it out. Linked in the description below. Now I'm going to go ahead and pause on this segment right here. We're going to go back to his underwaters because I think it's really important to know, if you haven't seen my breakdown of Sarah Sjöström from Sweden, how she does her dolphin kick, really important to look at the difference because they actually kick underwater very differently. And when I break down her stroke and her butterfly and her dolphin kick, she actually kicks with a much smaller amplitude kick. When we look at Dressel's, I'm going to go ahead and clear that. Here's the body line, and Caeleb actually starts the the dolphin motion with his upper body, with his fingertips, with his head, with his chest, his whole diaphragm, and he's kicking up and down. That's all great, and everyone's body is differently, so you shouldn't look at Caeleb Dressel or Sarah or any other swimmer and think that you have to swim like them. Every athlete is a little bit differently. They have different strength, flexibility, and that's what you factor in for yourself when you're training. So don't try and copy someone else because Caeleb goes a 49 in the 100-meter butterfly, and he swims like this, so I need to swim like that as well. Let's get back to the analysis and watch his underwater dolphin kick. He is using his entire body on that underwater dolphin motion. There it is on the turn, tight streamline, great body undulation, great flexibility. He's one of the best, he is probably the best underwater swimmer in the world when it comes to flat out speed. And look at the amplitude, it's pretty big. There it is, I'm gonna put a box around it. Now, if you have a bigger dolphin kick, you're gonna get more power. You're also gonna get more resistance because that white box I just drew is gonna be bigger than if you had a smaller white box, right? If you have a smaller dolphin kick, yes, you'll have less power, but you'll displace less water and you'll have less resistance going against your body. Yes, you'll have less propulsion, but you'll have less resistance. So it's a give and a take, and every athlete is a little bit different, and that's what I wanted to highlight with that point. Now let's get into the mechanics of his actual swimming. This is the part that really matters the most because this is what you're doing most of the time in open water, 50-meter pool, even a 25 distance pool. Let's go back a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and pause and look at his body position. He has, the camera's at a little bit of an angle, but he pretty much has a flat body position. I'm gonna keep that red line as the neutral. Actually, I don't like this scene. Let's back up a little bit. And there it is. Okay, so let's put the line right in his body. Now, if you notice, his eyes are looking forward a little bit. Maybe he would benefit if his eyes were looking down, his hips would go up just a bit. This is relatively minor. I think the bigger thing is actually when he takes a breath, he lifts his head up, and that's what's gonna slow him down. This is that angle I was talking about when we're looking at, where is that line? So, 30 degrees relative to that red line, which is the midsection of his body, he could lower his head 30 degrees. Why does this matter? Because your head is the first thing that displaces water, and that is all the resistance hitting your body. So you're trying to minimize your body and get your body in as small of a frame as possible to minimize that resistance. Now let's go ahead and look at the actual pulling pattern, because this is how you move forward, right? So he has a great early vertical forearm. I think I'm a frame too late right here. Let's get in there. Yeah. There it is. So what I like here is how his fingertips are extended. Again, his eyes are too far ahead. That's fine, we'll work with it. And what you're trying to do at this point in the stroke, you're trying to reach forward, you're trying to increase your distance per stroke, and Caeleb does a fantastic job of that. Next thing you want to do in the stroke is you want to start bending the elbow. And so ideally his hand goes from here and he starts to bend his elbow with his fingertips facing down, and then he ends up pulling the water. Now he's not going to get to a full 90-degree red angle, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to get your elbow to pop up and catch the water. Now let's go, I wish I can go frame by frame. I'm gonna have to just, oh, there it is. Sort of, we can kind of see it. Now in a sprint, you're gonna have a slightly straighter arm recovery. Caeleb actually does a fantastic job having that bent elbow, probably more so than most sprinters. Most sprinters have a very straight arm. This is again the 100-meter freestyle. That is why we saw some up and down bounce with his head, because he's breathing about every 2 or 4 strokes. Let's keep watching this. And you can see right on that right arm, you can see actually maybe on the closer arm, it's easier to see that early vertical forearm. Let's go ahead and move it right there. Yeah, I think that's where you can start to see it. Could he have a little bit tighter early vertical forearm? Yeah, I think so. But again, he's moving really fast, generating a lot of power. It's a balance between resistance as well as power. But yeah, that's solid. He's going 46 seconds in the 100. There it is. Yep. Now this is a race actually when he broke the world record in the 50 short course. I actually filmed this video myself. I actually got to see the world record in the 50. He's right there. That's Caeleb Dressel. Blue cap, Flo Manadou is in the lane above him. They were about even to 15 meters. And right here, this is the 50, so there's no breath, a little bit straighter arm recovery above and below the water. Let's see the underwater turn. We're watching this in 50% speed, or actually a third speed potentially. And so underwater, we talked about he's using his whole body to get the dolphin kicks moving. Amazing. And on top of the water, it's a relatively straight arm recovery, but he's entering the water, not with a lot of splash. It looks like a lot of splash, but there's a lot of power being generated. And full stroke on the finish. Woo! Look at him go. 20.2, I believe, on that 50 freestyle. Wow, absolutely stunning. Now let's see what I've got next here on the video footage. Cali Condors making it happen. This is great. So this next video here is highlighting his streamline and just how important it is to maintain a good body position, because your streamline is the fundamental body position of swimming. So not just freestyle, but backstroke and butterfly and breaststroke, everything is based on streamline. So let's go ahead and watch this start. And this is a drill that you can do on your own. You can do it from pushing off the wall. You can do it starting off the diving block. And you basically dive in or push off the wall in streamline. And your goal is to maintain this body position, and you're trying to be as still as possible, engage the core, right? Everything is being engaged right now. He's very, very tight. The fact that he can float is actually very, very impressive. And it looks like he went about 25 meters just floating, right? That is amazing. See how far you guys can go. If you've done this, let me know in the comments how far you've actually floated. It's a lot more difficult than he's making it. The fact that, again, he's floating so easily, a lot of people like myself, our legs would be sinking like a rock. But he's doing a great job holding that streamline, and it just goes to show how important that core strength is, because that is the foundation of everything. If you don't have that core stability, and this applies for freestyle, backstroke, breaststroke, butterfly, you're not gonna be fast. So as simple as this is, and it looks, I mean, it looks harder than it actually is, but it looks easier than it actually is, correction there. It's so fundamental. So whether you push off the wall or the diving block, this is a skill that's really important to try and master. And Caeleb does an amazing job, and he's the best in the world. He's still doing drills like this because everyone can benefit from this. Here's another drill where you start at the wall working on turn speed. And yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. You're at the wall, you're flat, and you move really, really fast into a turn, engage your core, and push off in streamline. It's a great drill. You guys can all try that. If you haven't seen our how to do a flip turn video, make sure you check it out. Maybe it's linked in the description. You can search My Swim Pro, how to do a flip turn. This is a great drill. Now I believe I have some Dryland. Speaking of turning and core strength, Caeleb actually has done a few videos about Dryland circuit training on his YouTube channel. Make sure you check those out. This looks like a partner move, holding your core very, very tight. He's doing it with a teammate. Teammate's pushing on the knees, and he is engaging the core. Check out that arm tat sleeve. Wow, looks pretty legit. But in terms of the core, right, that's so important. And here's some push-ups. I believe this was the C10, give 10, or do 10, give 10. And look at him go. One arm push-ups, what a machine. He's making it look easy too. I don't know if he's trying to flex with the tats, but oh, now he's flexing. Now he's flexing, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, now he's flexing. Yep, that's called the flex. This is insane. He did a backflip and a front flip, kind of just, now I want to pause here. Make sure you are practicing safety on any Dryland. Do not do something like this just because you see him do it. It looks relatively easy. Doesn't mean you should do it yourself, right? You know, this is a very complicated skill that you should definitely not do on the grass by yourself. And the final, I think here, is in the weight room or in his garage or wherever this is. And you know, he's doing the snatch. It's an Olympic lift. If you're doing any kind of Dryland training, whoop, how do we get this guy? Whoop, that's his dog. We'll get back to that in just a little bit. But a little bit of critique here actually on these power moves. So when you're doing any kind of Olympic lift or Dryland, we have a ton of Dryland training in the My Swim Pro app. So if you guys are looking for that, no equipment or with equipment, you know, something like an Olympic lift, a snatch, a clean, deadlifts, any of those more complex movements that are total body, you want to have proper technique. And just looking at Caeleb move this weight right here, what is this, 25 kilos? This is like what, 135 pounds? 145 pounds. You want to move the weight cleanly. Not because it's a clean, he's actually doing a snatch, but the bar is supposed to go up and down in a straight line. You know, so it goes up and down in a straight line, and it doesn't look like he's doing that. It looks like he's kind of muscling up. Yeah, his arms are kind of straight. Yeah, so when you're doing a snatch, guys and gals, you want to make sure that the bar is moving in a straight line, and it's a very explosive movement, and when you catch the snatch at the top, you should be in more of a squat position. It looks like he's not really doing that. But, you know, even the best in the world can always improve in the water, out of the water, whether it's training, you know, Olympic lifts or training your technique, doing drills like the ones that I showed you. Some of those drills seem really basic. There's a dog eating a watermelon. How cute is that? I love it. Like I said, the best athletes in the world are doing drills and focusing on improving their technique every single day. So I hope you guys were able to pick up some tips and tricks from this video, watching one of the best freestylers in the world, Caeleb Dressel of the USA. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And by the way, if you haven't already joined our My Swim Pro Facebook group, we have swimmers from all over the world who are passionate about swimming faster and smarter than ever before. So make sure you join that group, 100% free, and I wish you guys the best.